said stupid things, which actually seems to be my method of operation anyway.
Yeah.
So, well, thanks for agreeing with like my audience here.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
totally
and
serious. Like the one guy, he like said he was late for work and couldn't show up, and the other guy died. I always have to do the dance like that. This is the over 40 dance. Wait. Got to put a hand in the pocket. The over 40 dance. There you go. Hey guys, folks, people at home, loveliness galore to you in your life. I'm your host, Geoffrey Hill, and I am really excited today because I have been looking for a black filmmaker to come on the show with me for weeks. And sometimes weeks feels like years. I have actually gone to the Black Filmmaker group on Facebook and said, ladies and gentlemen, black filmmakers, you are underrepresented in Hollywood. Come on the show. And so today we have a fabulous filmmaker here. His name is WADE Simmons. WADE is a very colorful man. And I love that. I love that about WADE, because we all need a little color in our life. If your life is stark white or stark gray, it's boring. You need some color in your life. You got to get a little vibe, a little excitement. But before we go meet WADE, let's go watch a minute of a movie.
You are right now, at this very moment, the most hated person in America. 8 counts of treason.
The White House confirming this evening American forces have struck Berlin.
This is Berlin calling.
With the right words, a war can be won before the first rifle is loaded. It is propaganda.
What chance do you have?
Prosecution, he's going for the death penalty. I'm your lawyer. Nobody wanted the case.
Mildred Gillers utilized a German propaganda machine to weaken the American war effort and to destroy the morale of our troops.
That is the definition of treason.
I did what I could to survive.
American passports have been confiscated. This is an oath of allegiance to the Reich.
I couldn't return to the States. I had no choices.
The American public, they need retaliation for the war.
Men have taken advantage of me my whole life.
It's your job to prove I'm innocent.
What would you have done, Mr. Laughlin?
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, your duty here today is to determine if the defendant is guilty of treason.
Did you ever want the United States to lose the war?
What would have happened if you refused to play your part?
Saying no was never an option.
And what happened to anyone who refused to follow directions?
They disappear.
Objection! The dead don't talk, Your Honor.
She was the voice of a man who claimed the lives of over 400,000 American men.
Mildred Gillers is on trial for reading from a script she did not write, she did not believe in.
This was psychological warfare in which she was a soldier.
America is watching. We must not sacrifice this woman. Patriotism covering up a lynch mob!
And we are back. I'm so glad to be back with you here. I'm sitting in my chair, which I love sitting in. Our guest today is very colorful. He's got such a combination, and I'm just curious about the strangest things. His name is WADE Simmons. He's the Undertaker, the real kind. The kind who shows up and hauls you off after your last breath. So if you're completely killing your lines on set, maybe he's gonna show up. Was that punny or what? WADE, welcome to the show. You are the actual real live Undertaker / filmmaker, and the most beautiful thing of all, you are a bona fide black filmmaker. Is that not true?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a moniker that I think you wear quite proudly, because we asked you before the show, what do you categorize yourself as? Because, we all basically put ourselves in a category in some form or another. Like if someone says to you, so, what do you do? The vast majority of people will respond by saying what they do for a living. Like, oh, I'm a plumber. Oh, I'm a floor sweeper. I'm an attorney. It's just kind of implied that what do you do is, you're supposed to answer that with your job title. So when I said this morning, what do you do? You said, I'm a black filmmaker.
Yeah, absolutely.
And on the side, we stab them, you slab them.
Yeah.
So what made you decide to do the whole funeral director job?
So when I was a little kid, I was always kind of fascinated with, working in the funeral home. And so when I was in 7th grade, I remember I was talking about the process so much, and there was this young guy named Terrence Matthews in my class. He says to me, like, what, you want to be a mortician or something? And I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to do. So when I went to high school, I started volunteering for a funeral home here in Chicago, and the rest is history.
Was this in the same era of the movie when the kid came out and said, I see dead people?
No. I mean, it was just, it was just something in me that just always wanted to go into funeral service.
I honestly can't imagine anybody wanting to do that.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't, but there's a lot of good people who do it though. It's a job much like filmmaking that you just have to be passionate about. That's all.
Well, it's a dying job, so.
And I mean, it's
not really in style.
Yeah, I mean, but I think it's one job that helps you look at life a little differently. I think it teaches you not to take life for granted. And I think it teaches you to pursue your dreams. Have fun, enjoy your family, and just, make the most of life while you have the time.
That is a really good point, because after all, you're sitting there listening to the eulogy and sometimes thinking to yourself, I wonder if this person could have done more. Did they say at the end of their life, this is it, I did everything I could, or did they look back and have regrets?
Yeah, I mean, what amazed me yesterday, I was talking to a family, and the lady says to me, she says, her mother lived to be 101. And then she said her father lived to be 100. And I thought that was really rare that, somebody have both parents that made it, to be 100 years old. I felt like, man, that was a blessing. I hope to get some of that longevity.
I wouldn't mind it. I'm thinking I'm going to be happy to make it to 80. But
yeah, that's
still,
good.
If I can make it to 100 and then say I'm a centurion and I spent my whole life helping people, that would be really good. I wonder when they cross to the other side, what they really say. Was my life useful? Or did all I do was harass people for my entire life? I just kind of wonder about these kind of things. Or do they go to the other side and say, man, I ate a lot of watermelon with mustard?
Yeah, well, I don't know if you saw this Disney movie called Soul. It's one of the newer Pixar movies, but I felt like that was an amazing movie that kind of, I thought it was really nice for them to, kind of incorporate that in a kids movie to get people thinking about, like, what am I doing with my life? So if you haven't seen that movie, I think you should check it out.
Oh, I did watch it. It was the really skinny music teacher.
Yeah.
He's a black music teacher, and he said,
yeah,
and he dies, and he has to, I believe he goes someplace and says, but I'm not ready for this. I can't remember exactly, but I went, wow, this is really a great film.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was really different. You don't really find too many films that do that for people, but I feel like it was really good in the sense to where it kind of could have you question, like, what am I doing with my life and with my time? I think that's the most expensive thing you would ever get in this life.
Yeah, what do you do with your time? Did you waste it?
Yeah.
This is a very, very deep topic to cover. Did you waste your life? God gave you one life.
Yeah.
Even if you believed in reincarnation, you're not going to remember it. you're going to come back and go, woof, 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 woof. Or maybe you come back and be productive. You know, I don't know, the whole, whichever side of the fence you sit on. So
yeah,
where does filmmaking fall in the category of cremation for you? I mean, this is such a, on the one side you're creating, on the other side you're putting people in boxes.
So for me, I look at it as just ammunition to make my film. You know, I'm not your traditional filmmaker. Like most people would get a date, space everything out, maybe take a year or two to plan a whole project. Me, I'm more spontaneous. Like if I get an idea, I write it, I call the crew, say, let's get together this date. You know, I'll reach out to some actors, some friends, and we'll just make it happen, you know, because like I said, my motto is that I look at it as tomorrow's not promised to anybody. So I don't like to space my films out too much. Like, you know, I look, because, you know, my thing is that, you know, time is really important. It's precious. It's something you can never get back. And like, you know, because like I hear people be like, well, I'm going to wait till, you know, I get a bigger budget. I'm going to wait till I get this actor. But, you know, to me, that time that you spend waiting, you could have been promoted yourself, you know? I mean, it may not be perfect, but I'm just saying, like, if you wait till everything gets perfect, then you might end up never getting a chance to do it, you know?
I think that's really good advice. Why does everything have to be perfect? The key to success is to get out there and do something. It doesn't matter whether it's flawless. I mean, even myself, I fall prey to that whole entire thinking. It took me a long time to decide to host a show. And then one day I hosted a show and it wasn't perfect the first time, and I made mistakes and I said stupid things, which actually seems to be my method of operation anyway.
Yeah.
So, well, thanks for agreeing with that one.
I mean, no, I didn't mean it like that. But
all is good. I know I say the really dumb things. I mean, after all, I had watermelon with mustard this morning. Can you imagine such a crazy thing like this?
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
I gotta do proper prior planning to prevent piss poor performance. A little watermelon with mustard and a hot chocolate every morning, you know, gets you on the go. Like it really makes you run.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, and I actually commend you for doing it because, like, you know, to me, one of my favorite movies, which also had a mortician in it. I don't know, have you ever seen The Bronx Tale?
No, unfortunately, that's not on my list of wants at the moment.
But it was one of Robert De Niro's earlier movies.
Ooh.
And there was a young guy in the movie. The character's name was Kalodrov, and he befriended like this gangster named Sonny. And kind of like the movie was about his friendship with the gangster. And Sonny, you know, people view Sonny as like a mobster, as a bad guy, but Kalodrov, he kind of knew him as a friend. He kind of, you know, looked after him and, you know, helped him so he wouldn't get in trouble. But to make a long story short, in the movie, his father, which is played by Robert De Niro, tells him the saddest thing in life is wasted talent. And, you know, at the end of the movie, they use that quote again. And so, like, to me, that movie is my philosophy. Like, you know, the saddest thing in life is wasted talent. So, you know, I just, you know, hate to see people waste their time and waste their talent. Like, you know, if you got a talent, God gave it to you, just use it. You know, don't worry about, you know, getting it right away, because the only way for you to perfect something is for you to start doing. You know, you're not going to perfect anything by just having plans on the wall. You gotta take those plans off the wall and put them into action. That's the only way you're going to get anywhere, because other than that, you're just going to be, you know, just procrastinating, just, you know, waiting on things and wishful thinking, when you can just, you know, do what you can now, and eventually it'll pay off.
In other words, those people who make those unbelievably awful posts that go like, so which camera makes movies? That's ridiculous.
The kind that you pick up and utilize.
Exactly. Hey, I wanted to note, I love that lens flare we had on your face a minute ago. It's very, very artistic that you purchased and brought that lens flare to the show. It was really cool. I like that. Kind of a rainbow color. Fantastic. So when you're choosing cast for your films, how do you go about actually figuring out who's going to be in the film?
So for me, the first film that I actually produced, we used all actors, but it was a team of us. But then when I kind of got out on my own, the first film that I produced, I was reaching out to a bunch of actors. Only 2 of them showed up, and then one of the actors I
That's
knew.
kind of like my audience here.
Yeah,
I'm totally serious. Like the one guy, he like said he was late for work and couldn't show up, and the other guy died. I mean, look at it. Totally no audience. Oh my gosh. Hey, I'm popular. You can tell, it's obvious.
Don't feel bad. We're in the same boat. But
you probably put my audience member in the ground yourself.
Oh no. Yeah, but so on the first film, only like 2 professional actors showed up. Everybody else was kind of like people I knew. So from there, I developed a little method as to where I would reach out to actors. But what I would do, I said, you know what, forget it. I'm not going to, beg anybody to be a part of my production. So what I did was the actors who showed up, I just kept working with them, and then I just used friends to help out too.
Maybe they're afraid if they don't show up, you've got a box with their name on it.
No, I don't think it's that. I just think sometimes when you're not a very well-known person, I think sometimes people don't really gravitate to you. I think that, because to be honest with you, it's like what I noticed with actors, like when someone works with an unknown filmmaker, you're not going to find too many actors that tell everybody, check this film out or whatever. I was in it. They'll just use it for their reel. But if you get, like, say, for instance, somebody like in a Tyler Perry production or a Spike Lee production, they're going to tell everybody. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, to me, I think that if people had the mindset that, no matter how big or small a production is, if you push it and help promote it, then, it also helps you too, So I think sometimes people you kind of have to find people that believe in you,
Now, I'm curious, why do so many black filmmakers hate Tyler Perry? I talked to a friend of mine who said, I said to this lady, I said, when you go for Thanksgiving dinner, is it really like this? Grandma shows up and says, you better give me a turkey or I'm going to bust a cap in your butt. And she says, my grandma was just like that. What? So if it's such truth, why do so many black filmmakers seem to hate on Tyler Perry? You cruise down the Facebook post, and every time someone goes, oh, I completely love Madea, there will be 400 other black filmmakers saying, you gotta be kidding me. Are you kidding me? Look at this guy. He don't represent us.
Well,
what the heck are they talking about? We all want to be, as far as I'm concerned, Tyler Perry is an incredibly successful black filmmaker, and I really genuinely admire the fact that he makes these films. Oh my gosh, when I saw Madea, I laughed so hard I almost crapped my pants. Oh, this is so good. That's why I had to ask my friend, is it really like that? Does she really bust a cap in your butt? Does she really drink a 40 every morning to get to church? This is good stuff. Love the lens flare. Look at that. Check it out.
Yeah, well, that. Cool. I think, to be honest, I also support Tyler Perry because as a kid, I remember when people used to have his plays on bootleg. As a kid, I watched them. So to see what he's doing now, I'm actually happy for him. I think it's just one of those things where, people just have to realize every film doesn't represent every person. But what I like about him, he creates for the audience that supports what he does, which what any filmmaker does, So, I mean, to me, I find this film very relatable because I grew up in church. I'm African American. I have relatives that are older that's very outspoken, you know. It may not relate to everybody, but I find it relatable.
Well, I completely love him. I haven't laughed so hard for years when I saw the first time. Even then, in his more recent films, I still laugh.
Yeah.
And then I see him in his normal human suit instead of the Medea suit. What do you call that? You know, like he's wearing the human suit, he's wearing the Medea suit. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's Medea. Now I just look at the guy and just want to laugh just because, well, I know who that is.
But you know what I think a lot of people forget about Tyler Perry is that, you know, some people have mixed emotions about him, but honestly, you got to remember that he even said this himself. He started playing the character because one of the actors didn't show up. So it wasn't like that was his intention. He just did it. The audience loved it, and he kept doing it, and it worked out for him. You know, so I mean, you know, people, when you have a dream and a vision, you know, nobody's gonna treat your dream and vision like you will. So I don't blame him. You know, I mean, it's brought him a lot of success. He's doing really well. You know, so I'm happy for him.
If he were to come to you and say, "Hey, Mr. Simmons, will you come and shoot films with me?" Would you accept the job?
Oh, absolutely.
I really wonder how many other black filmmakers would say the same thing.
Well, but you know, another thing I think too, sometimes I think people could be jealous, you know.
I'm positive there's a lot of that jealousy going on.
Yeah, I mean, because
saying,
again,
man, he didn't even ask me to come to the craft table and eat watermelon.
I mean, but again, you know, I think that people should be, you know, happy for other people. And then too, I think that, you know, people might have mixed emotions, but like I said, that's his dream, that's his vision. I think he's did a really good job with, you know. I can't really speak to what other people say about it, but I think he's an excellent storyteller, if you ask me.
I would have to agree. When you're shooting a film, do you at times say, borrow some of his style once in a while?
No, actually, to be honest.
Why not? It's a successful business model that's worked so well into the hundreds of millions of dollars.
I mean, it's successful, but you know, for me, and I'm also a minister too. But see, to me,
really?
when I create my content, you know, because I'm a minister and then I work in funeral service. When I make my films, I don't take life serious when I create that stuff, you know. So I'm not the typical filmmaker that creates with so much of a message. I do it more so for fun, you know.
Okay.
Because that's my opportunity not to take life so serious. You know,
fair enough.
I'm in an environment where
really serious business in the first place. You've got to have some sort of outlet.
Yeah. So it's like I'm not the type of guy that got into filmmaking necessarily to spread a message. I commend the people that do that, but that's not my forte. I do it for fun. You know, it's my chance to kind of just, you know, have a little fun in life. You know.
Have you produced any zombie films?
No,
like,
actually.
You have like an instant supply of zombies you could like employ, and they come at they're pretty cheap.
I mean, me per se, I don't really see myself making horror. I think I'm more like a romantic comedy, family style type of filmmaker, you know.
But you could call up the morgue and you could borrow some bodies, cheap labor.
Oh no,
right
no. Oh no, absolutely no. That would be against the law.
But so fun.
Yeah, you know, we try to respect, you know, those who've gone on before us. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. My joke dropped dead on the floor anyway, so.
It's all right.
So we have a film here, and I believe it has something to do with time. You're going to have to give me a little refresher here because I've got a memory of a 55-year-old Civ. I can't remember a dang thing. That's why I have an actual teleprompter to remember even people's names. What is this film clip here that we're going to look at?
So Master in Time, that was actually a film I did when I was in film school. It was, I shot it actually at the funeral home.
Where did you go to film school?
So I went to a film school called Flashpoint, Chicago. One of the best film schools out here. I had a lot of fun. Oh, absolutely. It was absolutely worth it.
I hear
But
all these things are like, there's this huge debate. Do you need film school to become a successful filmmaker, or can you just get out there and start shooting and do that? What's your take on that?
so my take is that, again, I say that everybody's life and path is different. I think for me, I think people make a big mistake when they try to put success in the box. I mean, I feel like whether you go or not go, I think that it's helpful to go because you get to meet people. You get hands-on experience. You actually, because like the film school that I went to, they actually brought like filmmakers to us to talk to us. I mean, people that are actually out here working in the industry. Because to be honest, meeting people on Facebook and stuff is fine. But to be honest with you, to be really honest with you, it's really kind of hard just to meet people that you really don't know and work with them. It sounds good until you try to do it. Maybe it has happened for some people, but I feel like for me going to film school, I met a lot of people that I connected with and still work with till this day. So it worked for me,
Well, yeah, part of being a filmmaker is dealing with the personalities and the character, not just the film character, but the individual human being who's acting in that role. You got to deal with that drama, that politics, that belief system of their own.
And also,
you got to be actually really good at people skills, honestly.
Yeah. And also going to film school taught me a lot about distribution, which, to be honest, is very important. I didn't think it was so important until I got out here and started making stuff because, like, a lot of people, seem like, okay, I'll just give me a YouTube channel, make videos and post it. But, I mean, it's easier said than done. I mean, because you can post all day long, it doesn't mean that people are going to watch your work. So I think it helps to have other information outside of what you know. So to me, I say that going to school really does help. But again, success is not limited to going to school. Though there's successful filmmakers who didn't go to school. So Tyler Perry didn't go to film school, and he's doing just fine. So, it
totally
just depends on
why I have to pay an audience to show up. I tell you, you brought so many points out here. Oh my gosh. So let's go back to this clip called Mastering Time. What is it? I mean, it's a film school project, and I want to take a look at it. We only have like 3 minutes left here, and then I'm going to have to give you some love and send you on your way.
Well, okay, so Mastering Time. So basically, the film was about how time is always moving, and we take it for granted. So when I shot it in the funeral home. Just clips of me sitting around the funeral home because as somebody in the business, while everybody's out having fun, living life, you're working and you're dealing with people at the end of their life, as opposed to like somebody's regular day. They're out. Some people look at time as money. Some people, look at time as just always moving. Some people look at time as just nothing, let's be lazy. So what I did was I got different shots of like clocks and different things just to kind of, encourage people like to think about what are you doing with your time, because the clock is always moving.
A famous doctor named Noonien Soon, who invented data on Star Trek, said, "Time is the fire in which we burn."
Yep.
You got to bring that person on the screen here. Who are we talking to?
Oh.
Well, look at that.
Here.
What's that? Well, we're talking about a person there, but there's a dog too.
Yeah, that's my cousin TJ, and their baby
nice to see you there, TJ. What are you doing?
Just babysitting his aunt's dog.
Oh, fabulous, fabulous. Well, let's take a look at this clip about time, and let's take a look. Very, very interesting. That's the side of a funeral home I have never seen. Just sliding that coffin over there covered in a plastic bag.
Yeah, that was actually a new casket. You know, anytime a casket is covered like that, it's normally new.
Oh, okay. I was thinking, what the heck? There's a dead guy in there.
Oh no, absolutely.
In the back storage.
If there was someone in there, I wouldn't have used it. You know, I have a very high respect for, you know, love people's loved ones. So
that's a really good thing. You wouldn't want to lose your job over that.
Yeah, but I mean, even so, it's just not something I would have done. You know, I would never feel comfortable using a prop with somebody's loved one in it. No. Yeah.
That's good. You have ethics. Ethics are really important. So that was a student film. Obviously, your career has progressed beyond that, which is good.
Yeah, I mean,
what's the next project you're gonna do?
Actually, I'm producing a film this weekend. I won't be on set, but it's about it's a Latino film actually.
Really? What's the synopsis?
So basically, it's kind of like it's dealing with two teenage children and their grandmother, kind of like, you know, like a precious heirloom type of thing. Like a memento piece, basically.
Is it
family
like an action film, or it's a Disney, made for Disney kind of film? What?
Yeah, I would say it's probably like more of a Disney style type of film, you know.
So no hugging and kissing and all that stuff. It's just real family oriented.
Yeah, family oriented. Yep. Because I mean because the filmmaker, he's actually one of the people that does cinematography for me. So he's always helping me. So I'm just returning the favor.
Well, that's awesome. Where are we going to be able to see this? Is this going to be you hoping to make it big at the box office, or is this just literally for fun?
Well, it's not for fun, but I mean, we'll see. You know, I mean, anytime you can make a profit off your work, I mean, hey, that's a good thing. But I mean, if not, hey, at least it looks good on the resume.
That's true. Very, very true. Well, Mr. Wade Simmons, it's been beautiful having you here. I appreciate your views on these topics, especially the Tyler Perry one, because the whole Tyler Perry issue for me is a complete mystery. It's like I said before, an incredibly successful black filmmaker that people seem to just beat on and hate for some crazy reason. And yet, even you said, it's a beautiful thing if you can profit financially on some of your work.
Yeah,
we should be admiring instead of tearing down these people who are successful in their world.
But you know what else too? Like me, if I see something that I don't like, I think this is kind of a huge problem in society today. If you see something you don't like, it's fine if you don't like it, but you don't have to bash it, you know.
That's kind of just being a decent human being.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not gonna, if I can't help you, I'm not gonna hurt you. You know what I'm saying? That's just me.
Like your grandma used to say, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Just kind of stay off into space.
Because my thing is that every artist is different. You never know what a person went through to get where they are. So it's easy to point the finger and say, I don't like this because of that. But if you knew this person, you knew where they come from, maybe you would be more understanding to it. That's how I look at it.
Particularly when the very person who's pointing the finger is expecting the rest of the world to be understanding to them.
Yeah.
And yet, somehow, certain people seem to miss the boat on that.
Yeah, but that's why I say that me personally, you know, there are films particularly that I don't watch, but I'm not going to bash the filmmaker because, again, I love art for what it is. Every artist has a different perspective, you know, and that's the beauty of being an artist. That's why you're an artist. You are sharing your perspective with the world.
I completely agree. Well, ladies and gentlemen, friends and family at home, I have had a beautiful time here with Mr. Wade Simmons. I call him Mr. Wade Simmons because I think he's due that stature. He's a black filmmaker who had the guts to come on the show today to talk about his views and his opinions and to express himself as a bona fide black filmmaker, which I find fantastic. At the very top of the show, I said the black filmmaker category is underrepresented. And so today, I am so proud that Mr. Simmons came on today and shared the time with us. I hope the rest of you in the black filmmaker community will follow suit. Come on, share your films, represent what you represent, and be on the show. I am your host, Geoffrey Hill, and I'm so proud to be with you today. I love you all.